Live from Television Park in high definition. Coverage you can count on. This is WJBF News Channel 6. Good morning, Augusta.
Good morning. People in Aiken County are under a boil water advisory right now. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Augusta. I'm Dion Guillory here with meteorologist Ed Bloodsworth, who's in for Kevin Nywood. And Ed, good morning to you.
Yeah, good to see you as always. Of course, starting off pretty quiet this morning. We had some call earlier this morning, someone stepping outside, just noting how extremely muggy it is out there.
It was like 85-ish or something
like that. Yeah, and I mentioned, so I grew up in Florida, so this is kind of what I'm used to. So, yeah, very muggy start, but overall pretty quiet conditions outside right now. Jiffy Lube Skyview Network camera. This is a live look in from the Augusta Marriott downtown. A nice first view this morning of downtown Augusta. Right now, just some scattered clouds overhead. Current temperature 76 for Fort Gordon, Grovetown. Warm in Daniel Field at 78 this morning, but cooler in Aiken at 70. You'll see a mix of middle 70s all across our area this morning. Satellite and radar picture quiet here at home, but there are some showers that are breaking out on the west side of Atlanta this morning, and that we'll be tracking as we go through the day. So here's your first forecast. 74 at 8 o'clock this morning. We'll see 88 by noon, and then getting into the 90s with some scattered thunderstorms possible this afternoon. And Dion, lots to talk about here. We'll take a complete check of the weekend. Also, we are tracking Hurricane Danny this morning. I'll give you the latest forecast from the Hurricane Center coming up.
All right, we'll talk to you then. Happening now, people in Warrenville, South Carolina are under a boil water advisory this morning because of a water leak. Now listen up. This is for anyone living on Justin Street, Warren Street, Goldfish Lane, and Legion Road between Highway 421 to Goldfish Lane. Now the utility company says it wants you to know you need to boil your water for at least 1 minute before drinking or cooking with it. Crews are working right now to fix that leak. Also happening now, law enforcement on both sides of the river are gearing up for Labor Day. The South Carolina Department of Public Safety announced its plans to focus on drunk drivers with its Sober or Slammer program starting this weekend through September 7th. That's Labor Day. 581 people have died on South Carolina roads so far this year. That's more than 100 people in the same time frame in 2014. Georgia law enforcement is also kicking off its Operation Zero Tolerance program ahead of Labor Day weekend. You can expect to see more officers on the roads. You'll also run into DUI checkpoints. Last year, there were more than 3,000 crashes during Labor Day weekend. 15 people died. Time now 7:03. The Journey for Justice is in our area this morning. NAACP members are marching from Selma, Alabama to Washington, D.C. News Channel 6's Renetta Dubose explains why some say the march is for more than just civil rights.
Words can't necessarily explain it because we're in the process of making history.
We can't watch the movie Selma. We can't go to Selma and talk about what happened then without doing something now.
The NAACP is shining a spotlight on racial injustice in its 6-state journey from Alabama to the nation's capital.
We're marching for education, we're marching for jobs, we're marching so America can hear us.
At the 400-mile mark, national and local activists champion several issues in each state with an education focus in Georgia.
When we look at the way in which schools are funded, many times kids who come from poor zip codes, come from little towns, come from cities that people like to ignore, we don't invest that way.
Beulah Nash Teachy leads the Augusta branch and says no injustice exists in the CSRA. The goal is to move forward.
We plan to have several roundtable discussions on education. How can we assist Dr. Pringle with some of her initiative?
Whether it's charter, public, private, but the bottom line is giving the kids what they need and the parents the opportunity to choose what they think is best for their children.
The group will continue through Aiken County and plan to rally outside the state capitol in Columbia on Monday. A Democratic presidential candidate says his policies will help benefit minorities. Bernie Sanders told supporters in Greenville he wants to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. He also said he wants to get rid of institutionalized racism. South Carolina hosts the South's first presidential primary and has a large percentage of black voters. Sanders acknowledges he must get more black support in order to beat Hillary Clinton. Republican presidential candidate Rick Perry plans to visit South Carolina next week. Perry plans to arrive in Columbia on Thursday, then Aiken on Friday. He will then attend a lunch at 1 o'clock at Newberry Hall. That lunch is $25 a person and hosted by the Aiken GOP. Perry will then head back to Columbia next Saturday. South Carolina Congressman Joe Wilson is supporting Governor Nikki Haley's latest executive order. Haley is moving forward with protecting military recruiting centers. Wilson sat down with Brad Means to talk about the need to arm recruiters. Be sure to catch that conversation on this week's edition of the Means Report. That's Sunday at 2:30 right here on News Channel 6. An Augusta commissioner wants the city to end its contract with Gold Cross EMS. Commissioner Sammy Sayas says the move will save the city more than $1 million a year. Gold Cross's CEO says the city pays $1.1 million to offset the cost of patients who don't pay their ambulance fees. 7 out of 10 people in Richmond County don't pay to use it. Gold Cross says if it loses the money, prices will go up. Burke County is moving forward with its animal services proposal. The new advisory committee is scheduled to report to the county commission on Tuesday. The committee will give county leaders ideas on how to deal with the animal population. That meeting starts at 6 o'clock at the Burke County Library. Everyone is invited, but the group will not hear from the public. Looking ahead to an event happening this weekend at 7:07, Richmond County is hosting an information session this morning. It's called All Roads Lead to the Doghouse. It starts at 9 at Butler High School on Lumpkin Road. The community event will focus on the AVID program. It also highlights students' transition from elementary to middle to high school. Education leaders will also talk about policies and procedures.